secondary duty. We can take a very crude example. Let's say a young boy, he gets, done with his college education, gets a good job, and is married, and he has a child. Now he's going to his office, he's working hard, earning money, and all that. Now let's say he spends most of his time in the office only. He rarely goes back home. He's only working in the office, he's getting good salary, he's happy with it, his boss is praising him, his colleagues are praising him, everything is good. But what's happening back home? The wife is not taken care, the child is not taken care. Is he doing his duty properly? Then what will happen one fine day? He will get a call from his parents. Hey, what is going on? I heard from your home that you're not taking care of them nicely. He says, no, I'm doing very nicely my job. I'm working very hard. I'm getting good promotion. I'm getting good salary. My boss is happy. Everything is happy. Then what will the parents say? It's not just to be stuck in office. That is just a secondary thing. Your primary responsibility is to take care of your family and children who are your dependents. Right? The salary that you get is not just to invest more and maybe become better in your job. You have to go back home and take care of them. Right? So it's a very crude example, but at a high level we all know that the jobs we do and everything are secondary, and the primary duty is to take care of our family, our children, our parents, our responsibilities, isn't it? In the same way, what we are doing in day-to-day life is actually the Vedic literatures reveal that is also secondary. There is something more primary. And that's what it says, Savai Pumsa Paro Dharma. There is a Paro Dharma. The Dharma that we are doing is regular Dharma, which is a secondary duty. There is a Paro Dharma. Para means supreme, superior, the higher. So the primary duty is there. And what is that Paro Dharma? Yato Bhakti Adokshaje. Yato Bhakti. See, Bhakti means devotion. Devotion to whom? Devotion to nation, society, country. Yato Bhakti Adokshaje. Adokshaja means, who is Adokshaja? Anybody can say who is Adokshaja?
Krishna.
The Supreme Lord is Adokshaja. What is the meaning of Adokshaja? Akshaja means eyes. Adokshaja means one who is not perceivable by the eyes. We can't see the Supreme Lord just like that with our eyes. Even when Bhagavad Gita was spoken, Arjuna was shown the Vishwarupa, right? The Supreme Lord's the complete Vishwarupa. Did he directly get to see it? No, Krishna said, okay, let me now give you divine eyes through which you can see me. So we can't see the Supreme Lord directly, we can't perceive him. Just like everything around us is actually happening by the control of the Supreme Lord. He says, Maya Dakshena Prakriti Suiteta Saracharam. He says the whole world, everything around us, the sun is moving, the planets are moving, the nature doing its course, the seasons are changing. How all this is happening? In this building, if you come, around 8 o'clock, lights are on, and 1 o'clock when the temple shows lights are off. Again, evening lights are turning on. Do you think everything is happening automatically? There is somebody coming and doing, right? Someone's coming, taking care, opening the doors, turning on the lights, turning off the lights, doing service and all. So nothing happens automatically. Why? Because matter, Prabhupada gives an essential principle. You can apply this anywhere, you can think about it. Matter doesn't function on its own. Matter requires a spirit behind it to move. Even the most advanced technological computer you have, you plug it in and everything. Still there has to be a person to turn it on, isn't it? Because matter doesn't function on its own, matter doesn't decide on its own. Like the microphone, it's doing its thing, it is amplifying the sound, but somebody has to turn it on. So matter doesn't function on its own, there has to be a spirit behind it. And what we see around us, everything is matter. Right? Even the clouds forming, the rain falling, and the plants growing, everything is matter. But how is matter functioning on its own? There has to be spirit behind it, and that Supreme Spirit is the Supreme Lord. So that is why the Supreme Lord is functioning around us all over actually, but we can't see him directly. That is why he is known as Adokshaja, not directly perceivable. So what it is being said, Yato Bhakti Adokshaje. If you perform devotional service to the Supreme Lord, that is the Paro Dharma. And why is that Paro Dharma? Why I should serve the Supreme Lord? It says because Ahaituki Apratihata. When you actually serve the Supreme Lord, Ahaituki Apratihata means without any conditions and without any deviation. Like continuously if you serve, what happens? Ye Atma Su Prasidati. So this is what we started off discussing, that this Dharma, what is the flaw in the Dharma? There is no complete satisfaction. No matter what we are doing, we are working hard, we are doing all our duties and everything, But if somebody asks you, tell me frankly, are you completely happy? Come on, tell me. Not even a tinge of some gap in your consciousness. Are you completely happy? Nobody will be able to say, I'm completely happy. Right? That is what is missing. Why? Because they're not serving the Supreme Lord. And when you see the saintly people, like Swami Prabhupada, what did he have when he left India and he traveled? He came on a ship barely with like 40 Indian rupees. And there were many times where he was even running out of everything. There were a lot of saintly people, like sannyasis, you see, the great devotees of the Lord. They're traveling all over. They don't have any positions. But if you ask them, are you completely happy? They'll say, yes, I'm completely happy. They are actually known as Atmarama. They're like self-sufficient. Why is it? Because they are doing this Parodharma. They're serving the Supreme Lord. So when one engages in the service of the Supreme Lord, that is when the complete satisfaction comes. And that is what is perfection. And that is what exactly same thing Krishna is saying, that whatever your duty, if you serve me, yena sarvam idam tatam, swakarmana tam abhyarchya. If you actually serve the Supreme Lord, then siddhim vindati manavaha, you will attain perfection. So this is one aspect. One aspect is the complete satisfaction. Feeling that fulfillment. So that is one aspect. And is it just feeling completely satisfied? Actually, there is more. Krishna says this siddhim vindati manavaha. What is this siddhim? What is perfection for human life? Any guesses? What is perfection for human life? Is it becoming wealthy, or is it becoming strong, or is it becoming beautiful, or is it becoming famous, or is there anything else? What is the general world they think about success, right? Especially we are in Bay Area, Silicon Valley, a lot of startup companies. What is success? Who is in the news mostly nowadays? Somebody? Huh? Elon Musk is in news, right? He's saying, I will buy Twitter. And what is he saying? I don't care, $40 billion or something. His net worth is like $275 billion or something. So he is famous. So what is perfection? And he was an immigrant, right? He was not a Native American. So people think that this is perfection. See, look at him. He is in news. Or Bill Gates, are becoming the most richest, most famous. And people sometimes say, hey, we have come to this world, we are living for something. We should make a mark and leave this world, right? You should make a mark means you should be known. You make a mark, everybody know, you become famous or something. So people think this is perfection, becoming famous. But they don't know that however famous you become, the problem is not solved. Because as we talked, the body is constantly changing. And the end of life, what happens? The body changes. Tata dehantara prapti. Krishna is saying deha anta. Deha, body will be end. But then what will happen? Prapti, you will get one more body. And that is where famous Shankaracharya song, Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam. Again you will have to take birth. Now imagine again if Elon Musk, if he, at one fine day he will have to leave the body, he is born again. What will be his position? Can he walk into Tesla and say, hey, everything belongs to me? Say, sorry, there is no evidence, we don't know you. So what will happen? Again you have to start from scratch. Again learn ABCD, again do your graduation and do everything. And again it depends on your karma. Janma, Aishwarya, Shruta, Shri, these four things, where you are born, what opulences you get, what education. You see our intellectual ability, everyone have different kinds of intellectual ability, isn't it? In our schools, there is always somebody like first ranker, there is a second ranker, there is somebody in the less academically performing. So our intellectual ability varies. There is IQ test. Right? If you want to join that Mensa club, they do this IQ test. You have to do that. How much ever you practice, you can't go beyond a particular limit of your intellectual ability. Why? Because we are born with it. Just like we are born, some people are born, physically handicapped. Right? Sometimes, sometimes they're born without some parts of the body, or some parts of the body don't work properly. They're born with a malfunction, right? There is some problem. So in this way, we are, based on our karma, we will get different kinds of bodies. So there is no guarantee that next life I will be very intellectual, where I can open another startup company, where I can become another big billionaire. Right? There is no guarantee whether even I will get education. If one is, unfortunately, does a lot of bad karma, he could be born in a very poverty-stricken, underprivileged area. We see people nowadays, being born in a very unfortunate situations, like in either slums or in different kind of places. What is the hope for them to become successful, right? It is very difficult. They are even struggling to get 3 times food or even once food in a day. So there is no guarantee. So that is not perfection. What we are talking is becoming famous, becoming very rich is not perfection. Why? Because we will have to take birth again and we will have to go through all these phases. And once you are born, they say as sure as death, you will have to die again. And between birth and death, there is old age, there is disease, there is all kinds of anxieties, there is board exam, there is interviews, there is, all kinds of certifications, promotions, 401k, retirement. So many things are there. You have to deal with all these things. So that is not perfection. What is perfection then? So Krishna actually says what is perfection. He says, Mam upetya punarjanma. Here is where Krishna is tackling the most important thing. Mam upetya, if you come to me, punarjanma. Now he's talking about rebirth, the whole concept. The rebirth is a problem. Being born again is a problem because all the problems of life you have to face. Life is nothing but struggle for existence. Right? And then where is this punarjanma happening? This birth is happening. Krishna is saying dukkhalayam ashashvatam. So Krishna is certified 2 words. Right? Like sometimes you take your gold when you purchase, you take to a place, they will certify, they put 916 something brand, they put, right? They will put some marks, or if it is something else, they'll put 22 carat, 20, 80 carat, 18 carat, and things like that. So what is the certification stamp Krishna is giving to this world we are living in? He's saying dukkhalayam ashashvatam. Dukkha means, everybody knows, dukkha means misery. What is misery? Recently we've been going through this pandemic. It's not just that. There is no limit to the miseries that are happening in the world around us. And we're all very fortunate we are here together sitting and gathering. But what's happening in Ukraine today? You never know. Any second a missile can strike and hundreds, thousands of people are dying. They're not able to maintain the count. They're saying 4,000, 6,000, 10,000. Their numbers are going in thousands. And people don't know what's happening. Suddenly there is airstrikes and it's just a matter of time. We can't say, oh, we are in safe zone, we are not in Ukraine. You never know, anything can happen. Overnight, before the war started, everybody in Ukraine were also like us, very comfortable, free, independent, no problem. But suddenly overnight things change. Even in our situation, there is no guarantee. Can we guarantee that we will be comfortable all our life? People are now saying, oh, Third World War has begun probably, and probably this is it. And it's not ending. We are seeing in the news, it's not getting any better, is it? Is it getting better? It's only getting worse. What is the most recent news? Oh, looks like he's going to use nuclear weapon now. This is what is in news. It is not getting better. It's not like, oh, things are settling down, everything is working out. Things are only getting worse. So, that is why Krishna says this place is dukkhalayam. This is a place of misery. And ashashvatam. Immediately Krishna is qualifying. He is using the word ashashvatam. Why he is saying ashashvatam? Because whatever adjustment you do is ashashvatam. It is a temporary adjustment. And ultimately, you will have to take punarjanma again. So then what is samsiddhi? Then he says, napnuvanti. If you don't come to this material world, that is mahatmana samsiddhi paramam gataha. That is perfection. So now Krishna is giving definition for perfection. What is the definition? That this material world where repeated birth, death, old age, disease is happening, which is full of miseries, if you don't take birth again, that is Mahatmanaha, that is a great soul, very great soul. And Samsiddhi Paramam Gataha, they will attain perfection. Why? Paramam Gataha, they will go to some other place. Like we were talking, we are the soul, the body is constantly changing, there is no end to the soul. So where does the soul go? If it doesn't come to this material world, Paramam Gataha, it will go to a place called spiritual world. And that is what is perfection. And that is what is liberation. That is what is known as Mukti. That is what is the place, that place is known as the Vaikuntha Dhama. So this whole Bhagavad Gita, the whole Vedic literature is trying to help us to shift our focus to the primary dharma, to Paro Dharma. And what will this Paro Dharma do? 2 things. It will give us the complete satisfaction and it will also save us. Like in this world, the saintly people, yes, definitely they are completely satisfied. But at the same time, this is still not a good place. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj used to say, this world is not a good place for a gentleman to live. Right? Who is a gentleman? A gentleman is honest, simple, quiet, calm, helpful, kind, compassionate. For such a person, unfortunately, this place is not at all a good place. Right? Why? Because there's all kinds of these miseries. So, what is being said here in this verse, especially, is Krishna is saying that we have to swakarmana, while doing our duties, Just like, we're not saying that, back to that example, we're not saying, oh, don't do your job because you're not taking care of family, stop doing your job. Well, again, he won't be able to take care of family, right? While doing your job, you have to take care of family also. So we have to balance. In the same way, swakarmana tam abhyachya. While doing our duties, we have to work towards attaining perfection. While doing our day-to-day duties, we have to shift our focus towards the primary goal of life, which is to establish our lost relationship with Krishna and start by worshipping Him. Simply, what is worshipping? That Krishna very clearly says, Manmana bhava madbhakta majjaji maam namaskuru. That's it, just 4 things. Krishna says, Manmana, always think of me. Manmana bhava madbhakto, become my devotee. Majjaji, worship me. Maam namaskuru, you pay obeisances to me. That's it, very simple. So these acharyas like Swami Prabhupada, under his guidance, these temples are open for what reason? For this purpose. So that you can, Manmana, you can think of him, how you can think. You come here, you have darshan of Krishna Balaram. Oh, very beautiful deities, very nicely decorated. Manmana, now you can think of him. Bhava Madbhakto, you can become his devotee. How you can become his devotee? By worshipping him. Majjaji, you worship me. How you worship him? There are different ways of worshipping. You can do archana, you can do chanting, you can do kirtan, you can eat prasadam. There are different ways of worship. So this temple is a place to guide people on how to implement this practically. Majjaji Maam Namaskuru, you can pay obeisances to the Lord. And so much so that in Kali Yuga, all these processes have become very simple. This worship can be happen very comfortably and no matter where one is. Niyamata Smaranena Kalaha, it is said. What is that one process? That is the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. When we chant the Hare Krishna mantra, we are actually worshipping the Supreme Lord. How? Because the Hare Krishna mantra, just like the Supreme Lord is there, but He incarnates. Here this form of Krishna Balarama, what happens? We do the Prana Pratishta, the Lord incarnates in the form. Because there are so many marble statues, there could be marble stone. Can you worship Him? Can you get the same result? No. You install the Lord in the deity. That means the Lord incarnates. There is an incarnation of the Supreme Lord present in the deity. So that's why when you worship the Lord in the temple, you get the benefit of worshipping the Supreme Lord directly. In the same way, when we chant the Hare Krishna mantra, Krishna incarnates in the sound form. He says, Kali Kale Nama Rupa Krishna Avatar. Especially in the Kali Yuga, Nama Rupa, Krishna takes the form of the sound. So when we chant Hare Krishna, we are actually worshipping the sound form of the Lord. And that is why it is said, in Kali Yuga, the most intelligent people worship the sound form. So, by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, we can all worship the Lord and we can attain perfection. What are the 2 aspects of perfection? Complete satisfaction and liberation from this material world and no punarjanma and going back to the spiritual world, to the Vaikuntha Dhama. Vaikuntha Dhama is characterized by Satchit Ananda. Sat means eternal. Here is temporary. One fine day we will die, but there is no death in Vaikuntha. Chit means full of knowledge. Here we have so many levels of ignorance. We don't even know how the food we eat is digested unless the doctor takes an X-ray or does something. So that is full of knowledge in the spiritual world. And Satchit Ananda, it's full of bliss. There is no Nirananda. There is no misery of old age, there is no misery of disease, there is no misery of pandemic, there is no misery of war, there is no misery of forest fire, there is no misery of hurricane. The list can go on. We go to the medical hospital, there are different departments listed related to different diseases. So that's a big list. We can write an unending list of problems we have here. But spiritual world is full of ananda, it's full of bliss. So how can we attain that? By worshipping the Supreme Lord. And in this Kali Yuga, the easiest way of worshipping is chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So what we'll do is I request the devotees to hand over the beads and we'll all chant the holy name together. We'll chant 108 times and we'll all take practical advantage of what we've been discussing about now.